Hi everyone, it is Tuesday and it's time for class. Who do we have on today? Let me just check and see who's here. Hi guys. Hi. How are you? Hi Oisín, you're on silent. You're muted. There you go. Now I can hear you. How are you? Brilliant. Now, did you remember that we're painting today?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay,
I've got
so
all my paints open.
amazing. Fantastic. So the first thing we're going to need are your paints open. All right. We're also going to need, can you guess what else we'll need if we have your paints?
Paintbrushes.
Paintbrushes, that's right. Yeah, okay. So we've got your paintbrushes. We're also going to need your water. So I have some water that I've been using already. Okay. And an apron.
I've got my water.
Brilliant. And you have your apron on as well now. I see that. Fantastic. And we are going to need, if you have a piece of tissue or a piece of kitchen roll, Oisín, just something to clean your brushes on. Amazing. All sorted, ready to go. We're also going to need your scissors, your glue, again, your markers. So those three things we're going to need. Okay.
Angela.
Yeah.
I'm using Pritt instead of the craft glue you got me because Pritt sticks a bit better.
It is. Do you know what? And I have Pritt stick as well, and I like to use one glue up completely before I use another one. So you're right. If you already have one open, use that one first, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got all my paints open now. So we have our paints, our paintbrush, our water, our kitchen paper or our toilet roll. Our aprons are all ready to go. We also need one of your, I'll show you what we need, one of your lollipop sticks. Doesn't matter which colour, one of your lollipop sticks, one of these guys here. Okay, yep, gonna need one of those. And we are going to need a paper plate. So one of your paper plates and one of your lollipop sticks, brilliant. And a white sheet of paper. Okay, we're not going to use very much of it, but we need a white sheet of paper, and we need one sheet of card. We're not going to use very much of that either, so it doesn't really matter what colour you choose, but I think I'm going to choose a yellow one, I think. So I've got yellow cards. All right, so one piece of card, doesn't matter which colour, one piece of white paper.
What size is the card again?
The card is the same size as your white paper. Okay, so that'll be in your zippy bit. Hi girls, how are you?
Yellow.
Brilliant. So
Hello, Africa, Devisa.
Hi girls. We're painting today, so did you remember that? Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. I'm just going to go through what we need one more time with you guys. All right. So we need our paints and we need our paintbrushes. We actually only need one paintbrush. Okay, so our paint's open. Ta-da! Our paintbrush, our water, our bit of kitchen paper or toilet roll.
And our markers.
Yeah, our markers. Our glue. Our scissors, as always. Okay, and we need one piece of white paper and one piece of coloured card. And as Oisín was asking, they're the ones that are the same size, okay? So the folded over ones in your pack are the paper, and the ones that aren't folded are your cards. And we need one of our lollipop sticks and one of our paper plates. Okay?
I picked the green lollipop.
Oh, lovely. And I've got a blue one. I'm going to show you what we're making today while you're still getting your stuff organised. We're making this really cool summer scene, okay? So if you can kind of see it here, okay? And the boat moves along here like this, okay? So the boat moves inside the scene, up and down in the waves like that. That's what we're making today, so you can see our lollipop stick. All right, so this is what we're doing today. So we'll get started. We're going to start with the paint first. Okay, so that'll be drying while we're making the boat and all that stuff. Oh, we also need your sellotape, guys. Forgot about one last thing. Sellotape. Okay, so you've got sellotape in your pack. You might need a bit of help opening it. If you do, you only need one kind of piece of it, one nice piece of sellotape, okay? I think I've got one started already. I've got one on the table here. And I've just got it stuck onto the table here, look. I just ripped off a little piece and stuck it onto the table because that's how we're going to stick the stick to the boat at the back. Fantastic. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to make sure that we have your paints all open and ready to go. Now, you can do whatever kind of a scene you want in the background, but I'm going to show you how to do this lovely sunset here in the background to make it look like it's lovely and summery. And that's what we're going to start off with. So I'm going to take your paper plate, and I have one rule about paint. Be mean with the paint and be not mean with glue. So glue you use loads of, paint you don't use loads of. Because if you use too much glue, it makes everything soggy and flop over and takes ages to dry. So we're not going to use loads of paint. We're only going to use enough paint to cover things, all right? So the very first thing we're going to do is we're just going to see where about the halfway is on it. And you don't have to mark it or anything. Halfway across the plate like this, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to fold it a little bit, but I'm not going to make it sharp fold. I'm just going to do this. And I'm just going to make a little snip with my scissors like that, okay? It's the very first thing. So you can see I made a line here, snipped a line here with my scissors. And I'm going to stick my scissors back in and cut across the paper plate, the middle of it, like the piece you would eat off of, okay? Like that. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to cut right across the other side. All right. So when we do our paper plate scene, we'll be sticking our little stick in here with our boat on it. And it has room to move back and forth like that. Okay. So it's the whole way across the back of my plate. So I kind of folded it over. I didn't make it sharp fold, and I just snipped it with my scissors. Then stuck my scissors back into that little slit and made it wider. So I cut right up to the edge here of the bit you'd eat off of, and right down here as well. Excuse me. Oops, excuse me. There you go.
Bless you.
I was outside in the garden all day yesterday, and I've got hay fever, I think, guys, because it was beautiful yesterday and it's raining today. It's horrible. So I'm glad I spent time outside, even if it's making me sneeze. Okay, so this is going to be where our boat sticks out of. And it also marks the halfway point on your page, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint above it is going to be the sunset, and below the line is going to be my water, okay? So I'm going to start painting now from up here. Now what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to draw a sun, and I'm just going to do that with some red or orange paint. And I'm just going to draw a big circle with my paintbrush, okay? And what I'm going to do from there, just to make it look like a real sunset, I'm going to take out my boat. I'm going to paint a circle, but I'm also going to use maybe an orange on the outside and then maybe yellow on the outside. And I'll just mix those three colours up to make the sky look more like a sunset like that, okay? But it's up to you. You could do a nighttime sky if you want to. You could do a rainbow in the sky if you like. It's completely up to you. Just don't use too much paint, okay? Use lots of water and a little bit of paint because we want it to dry quickly before the end of class. Okay, so I'm going to do my red sun. And all I'm going to do is do a big circle of sun here like that. Just painting a circle like that. And I'm going to colour that in, okay? Now, you should only really need to dip your paintbrush in the paint once for the sun. Okay, and just make sure you spread it around in a circle. And if you actually paint like this in a circular shape, it looks more realistic, okay, rather than painting it across like that. So I'm painting it around like this in a circle, as it makes it look more circular like that if you do that, okay? There you go. And I've only used to dip my paintbrush in the paint once. So what I did was I just drew a circle and then just kept going with the paint. If you think you're running out of paint, dip your paintbrush in a little bit of water and spread it around a bit more on the inside, okay? The water dries faster than the paint. Okay. And we're going to try and do that above the line, above the slit you just cut. That's what we're going to do. And actually, somebody said to me yesterday that kind of looks like a rose when you do that, going around in circles like that. Okay. And the next colour I'm going to add is I'm going to do a little bit of orange. And I'm going to just go around the edge of my red with it. Now, I don't mind it getting mixed up because it looks more like a real sunset if one colour kind of runs into the other one, okay? So I've just gone around the edge of my orange like that. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do it again, like around the edge, until I've almost run out of the orange paint. Going around like that, okay? And I'm going to do it again in yellow. Okay, so it makes it look like it's really bright and it's getting a little bit lighter on the outside. So when I'm changing colours, make sure you're washing your brush, and you can use your kitchen roll just to clean off the brush so you don't end up with any of the wrong colour in the wrong place for yourself, okay? And this is just a little trick that I use, and I'm using the darker colour, the darker yellow for this, because it's a bit brighter, I think. So I'm just doing exactly the same thing with my yellow as I did with my orange, and just going around in a circle like that around my red and my orange, like that. And you can kind of see I've kind of got little bits of orange in it, but it looks like it's fading from one colour to the next. And I'm just going to paint the rest of the top of it yellow as well. And I don't mind that it's got my paintbrushes kind of orangey bits on it, because I think that looks more realistic. So you can see now, because I've gone around in a circle, it's less yellow and kind of orange in places, and I like that. And I'm going to show you a little trick as well in a second to make it look more realistic. So I'm going to paint it all yellow first, and I've only just dipped my brush in once, and I've gotten all of that yellow from one dip of paint, okay? So it should be drying very quickly if you have a little bit of paint on your brush, not too much, okay? Because we want to be able to finish it before the end of class, all right? So from the circle, I'm just moving out like this, like you would with the edge of the sun, all the way around, like that. Okay. Brilliant, guys. How are we getting on? Are we good?
Yes.
Painting away like mad there. Well done, guys.
Look at my parrot.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's fab. You should send me a picture of it so I can pop it up on me.
I think one's for my sister too.
Oh, brilliant. And they're lovely and bright, aren't they? I hung mine up here as well. I hung my favourite one from last week up here as well. So I'm working away here, and I'm still painting in the yellow bit for my lovely sunset.
I'm doing the sea.
And you're doing the sea now. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the trick at the top of the sea for the waves in a sec. So I'm starting at the top, and I'm going to do the darker colour last, because it's better to do the lighter colour first with the darker colour over it, rather than getting blobs of the darker colour on the lighter colour, if that makes sense. Okay, now I'm just going to show you a little trick to make it look like the sun is setting. And after I've it all painted yellow, I'm just going to dip my brush back into the orange, and I'm just going to do little streaks like this in the sky. Okay, coming out of the sun, away from the sun, little streaks like that. Because I don't know if you've ever looked at the sunset before, or streaks in the sky. It looks like there's, like with clouds as well, it looks like there's kind of stripes of different colours sometimes. So I've just done that, okay? That's a little trick to make it look more realistic. Okay, so I've just gone with my little orange brush and just brushed it out from the side like that. You can kind of see it there. It's a nice little effect. You can kind of see it. I've done the same thing on the other one as well. Okay. I used to live in a place in America, and the sunsets were pink, and they were really, really cool. And I lived in a place with white walls, and at the same time, every night my whole living room would go pink from the sun, and it was really, really cool. Super special. I might do a pink one tomorrow. There you go. Now I'm going to move on to the sea like Oisin has, and I'm going to just use my blue, guys. And I'm going to just paint it normally, just in blue all the way down. And then I'm going to show you a trick on how to do the waves to get that lovely little wave effect, okay, at the top. So if you just paint it in a line up as far as that slit, And then I'll show you how to do those lovely waves at the top in a second. All right, so I'm cleaning my brush, getting rid of all of the orange and the red and the yellow. And I'm moving on to my blue. And again, I'm not using too much paint. I'm going to just add some water to it when I have paint. So this is all 1 dollop of paint. Look, that's a lot. Okay, 1 dip of the paintbrush. And I'm going to just dip my brush into the water and spread that out a bit more, and it'll dry faster that way, okay? Because water dries faster than paint. Okay, so I'm painting away here. I can see you guys are doing the same thing, painting away. And of course, the water doesn't have to be blue, because I think, you know, sometimes in some countries it's a lovely turquoise colour. In Ireland, sometimes it's green. So any colour you want, doesn't have to be blue.
And Angela, what
Yeah.
colour do you do the sea?
I'm doing mine blue, but you can do it green. You can do it kind of turquoise colour. You can do it any colour you want, really. It doesn't have to be realistic, you know what I mean? You can do it like it's a fantasy world or a dream, anything like that. You could do purple, I guess, or any colour, really. So whichever you like. I'm just doing mine in the blue colour. That's in our paint kit. I think there's a kind of a purpley colour as well. You could do some bits of that. Or it could be black, like the nighttime. Sometimes the sea looks black if you're on a boat and it's nighttime. So any of those colours, girls. Yeah. So I'm almost there. I just need a little bit more paint. And that's only 2 dips of the paintbrush. Okay. And I'm going to just add some more water now. And I'm going to spread that out. And that'll be my last one. The edges of the plate are the hardest bits to paint because of those little ridges.
You colour them with paint.
Yeah. I'm going all the way out to them. I'm going the whole plate will be covered in paint. All right. So I'm doing that. And the only thing we're using our markers for today is when we're making our boat. So we're going to just do the whole plate is covered in paint. And I think this is a really nice way to use our paper plate. A little summer scene. You could also, if you were doing another one of these at another time, if you bought more plates and stuff like that, or you had plates left over from a barbecue or something, you could you could paint it and do another scene with maybe a surfer or a shark or, you know, anything like that. But we already did a shark a couple of weeks ago, so I wanted to do a boat today. Just to be something different. Okay, so I have my whole plate finished like that. Okay, so let me know when you guys have your plates painted and you're ready to do the waves, because I'm going to show you a little trick with the waves. Okay, there you go. How are we getting on, guys? Are we good? Yeah, the girls have their thumbs up. Oisín is painting away. Well done. It's really good. You could do all the edges now as well. Well done. I love your sun. It's fabulous, Oisín.
Thanks.
So now I'm going to clean my brush, and while I'm waiting for you guys, I'm just going to dip it in. And make sure when you're cleaning your brushes, guys, and you have them drying, that you don't stand them this way, because all the paint goes down into the handle of the brush, and when you go to use it the next time, it all comes out and ruins your painting. So when you're drying your brushes, you should dry them flat. Okay, so you lie them flat on a piece of kitchen roller like that. Later on, when you're completely finished for the day, and then when they're absolutely dry, then you can stand them up like this in a jar. All right, it's just a little trick, so you don't end up with loads of different color paints that you don't want on your artwork. Okay, so I'm going to lie mine flat, and it's ready to start painting something else again. Okay, how are we getting on? Are we ready for the waves yet, or are you guys still working away?
Would you show us how to do the swishy wavy thing?
I will, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use my paintbrush, and I'm going to go back into the blue, and I'm only going to take a little bit of paint. Okay, so when I dip it into the paint, I'm going to scrape some of it off. All right, like that. I shall make myself a little bit bigger. Okay, and I'm just going to go from one side to the other. I'm going to go from this side. I'm just going to do a swish, a little swish like that. Okay, And a couple of seconds further on, I'm going to do another one here. And another one. So I always think it's like Harry Potter, you know, swish and flick. So I'm going to do that one. Another one. Just a little swish like that with the brush. And another swish. And my last one. Okay. And then the trick is you go back to the other side of the swish and you just join it into the water like that. Okay, like this. It's hard to do when I'm not looking. You're going to join it into the water like this. It's like, now I need a bit more paint. Like that. So you don't do it from the top. You only do it from kind of the middle here, look. Like that. Okay. And you're just going to join it on to your picture below here. All right. I need more paint. And I'm going to do it again here. And again here. And then you colour in the bits in between. Okay. And it just makes it look like it's splashing. And if you really want to make it look like it's wild weather, you can put a little bit of white paint on the swish. Or you can just use white paint for the swish as well instead of blue. Okay. But I think my sea is nice and calm. So I'm just doing it like this today. But that's a nice little trick to know how to draw waves like that. And it's nice at the top because you can see mine isn't very neat at the top. Look, you can kind of see that it's a bit messy, but I like that because it looks like more like water, because water isn't like super neat. Well done. That's great. Well done. You did a great job on it. Excellent, girls. Well done. They're really good. Now, so I'm going to colour in I'm just colouring in the rest of mine there now. Like that. Okay. And I'm just going to maybe blend it in a bit more with the rest of the water so it doesn't look like they're just added on afterwards. So if it's a little bit wet still, I'm just going to brush in the wet bits into the bits underneath like that and spread it out a bit. So that's my plate and it's ready now to sit at one side and just dry. So if you can see, look, already the middle of it on mine is dry. The blue bit here is dry. Okay. So it dried really quickly. It's only really the sun and the waves now that are wet on mine. So we're almost ready to go with this one already. Okay. So I'm going to pop it to one side and let that dry for a minute and clean my brush again. So I have it nice and clean. Okay. And I'm going to lay it flat just so it dries properly and I don't get all of that hot, yucky old paint on my new things. Next thing we're going to make is your boat. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to do. We're going to make this little section here to stick in for the scene so you can sail your boat on the ocean that you just made. Okay, so I'm going to go to my card. All right, my card. So I picked yellow this time. Although, do you know what? I think I might go and I might pick green instead because we have a lot of yellow in the sky. And I don't have any green on my picture. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just change it. And I'm going to pick some green instead. So I'm going to pick green.
Yellow.
You got yellow. Brilliant. Are you done with your painting now, Oisín?
Yes.
Amazing. Perfect.
My hands feel very sticky now.
Oh, I'm the same. Do you know what? That's what aprons are for. I'm just wiping them on my apron. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to my card. And we're not going to use very much of this card. So you'll actually have loads of this card left over to do other things with next week or the week after, okay? So we might put that back in the box when we're done. We're going to draw a boat, and I'm just going to take my marker and draw a boat. Yes, girls, you have a question?
Which one is the card the one folded in half?
No, that's the paper. So the card is the one exactly the same size as your white paper.
Are you allowed to use paper?
The paper won't stay straight when you stick it onto the stick, so it needs to be more solid, so it needs to be card.
I have a few sheets of paper left over, so should I save them for the weeks to come?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, because I think they're from last week. I have those left over too, so save those for another couple of weeks and we'll just move on to the card for today. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to use my card and I'm going to draw a boat. I'm going to do a really, really simple boat. Really, really easy, simple boat, okay? And what I'm going to do is I am just going to draw I suppose it's a wide U or an upside down rainbow. And I'm going to start that. I'm going to do it down here. And it doesn't have to be very big because we need it to look small on your plate so you can move it. If it's too big, there'll be nowhere to move. So it's just about this size. So look, it's kind of, I suppose, 3 fingers wide or maybe 2 fingers wide, depending on whose fingers there are, I suppose. Okay. All right. So that's the first one I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a U like this. And I'm just going to go straight across and join those up. And that's the main part of my boat. And it's really simple. Now, you can do lots of little things with your boat. I've drawn these lovely lines on mine to make it look like, I suppose they're wooden planks. And I've given it a name. I've given it a little name, Star. Okay? So, because all boats have names. So you can do that if you like. Or you don't have to do anything at all. You could just leave it plain. But I think I might call mine Bod. The Irish for boat. So Bod, I called it Bod. So I just did lots of little lines like this to make it look, give the impression that it's wood. And I wrote Bod on it. Very original. I called my boat Boat. Okay. And what I'm going to do from the center of that is I'm just going to draw a straight line up. It's called the mast. It's going to be the bit where the sails are. Okay. Like that. Just a lovely straight line. Like that. So what I did for the boat so far is I did a nice wide U or an upside down rainbow. Did a line that joined the two of them together. Some little lines in the middle to make it look like the impression of wood. And I gave my boat a name, Bod. And in the center or close to the center, I drew a straight line up. And that's going to be my mast or the part where my sails are going to go. Now you have a choice here. Sometimes on top of the mast, they have the crow's nest, don't they? Where there's in the pirate ships where people stand, it's called the crow's nest. Or they might have a bird sitting on top of it or a flag. I'm going to do a little flag on mine. Like this. Just to make it a little bit different. Okay. And I'm going to draw my sails. And my sails, all they are triangles that come out the side of the mast. That's all they are. Okay, so I'm going to show you there now. So it's a very simple boat like that. Okay. Now I did one on my other one. I kind of curved it a bit more on one side and made it look bigger. So there are 2 different kinds of styles you can do. This one is a bit curved and then this one is more triangle. Okay. So I'm going to go with the triangle one today, but it's up to you. Okay. And as I said, you can do a surfboard here with a person standing on it, or you could do a dolphin jumping out of the ocean. If you were going to do another one, and you can even do another one on the other side of the stick like this. Okay. So you could have a boat on one side and then you could take that out and maybe do a dolphin on the other side and pop that in and have a dolphin scene on the second one. So you'd have 2. We're only going to make one today, but I'll let you make up what you want to do on the other side of it yourselves. And you can surprise me when you send in the pictures. Okay. Right. So when I've that done, guys, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out. And now I don't want the whole thing to be green. So that's where my paper comes in. So I'm going to cut it out first. And I'm going to cut it out roughly first. So look, I've only used this much card. Little bit of card. So I have all that left over. I'm going to pop that back in the box for the next day. All right. I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to be super careful, especially with the mast. As careful as I can without cutting through it. And I'm just going to be really neat, okay? If you would like the sails to be a different colour, what I did was I cut out some white paper and I stuck those paper shapes on. And that's what I'm going to do again because I like the white sails. I think they look really good with the sunset and the blue ocean. I'm going to use some white paper and stick those on. And I think I might stick a white flag on as well and maybe colour that in a different colour. So you have a couple of options here, okay? Now,
Angela.
Yeah.
Or you could colour the flags in the markers.
You can, absolutely. Yeah. Whichever way you want to do it, Oisin. I think I like white though, so I'm going to use my paper to do white, but you can do whatever you want. You can just colour it in with markers if you want. Especially if you picked a nice light colour like you did with your yellow. It's easier to colour in yellow, I suppose, than it is red or orange. So that's my little boat cut out now. And you can see I left a little bit here on the mast. I didn't cut it too skinny, and I'm just going to colour that in black with my black marker. Okay? I'm going to make my mast a little bit wider, that's all. Okay? So that's my little boat. And I coloured in my mast and made it a little bit wider. You can kind of see it there if I put it up against my hand. You can see all the blue paint on my hands from earlier. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my white paper and I'm going to cut out little triangles and stick those on the sails. And a little trick to do that is if I put my boat on my white paper and I can draw around my sails so I have the right size. Okay. So I'm going to get my black marker and draw around my sails, and I'm going to show you what I mean. But like Oisín said, you can just colour in the card. You don't have to do this. Okay. But I am going to colour in around it. Like that. So I know that this is going to be the right size for my sails. All right, so what I did was I popped down my lovely cutout boat on my white paper, drew around it, and I'm left with this lovely shape, and I'm going to just cut that out because I want white sails on my boat. But that's an extra little thing. You don't have to do this. Now as well for your scene, guys, as well, because you have all this white paper left over, you also have I suppose you've got other things that you could put on your picture. So if you wanted to stick other things on, you could make little seagulls out of your white paper and you could put them in the sky. You could do fish and stick them on in the sea or seaweed. It's totally up to yourselves, because I love when you guys get really inventive and you do some really cool things with your artwork. So I really, really like that. So get a bit more inventive and go mad and let's see what happens. So I've just cut out now my white sails and I'm going to glue them on with my glue stick. Okay, and then we'll have my boat ready to go, and it's just the stick, and then we'll be almost ready to do our scene. So I'm just going to get my glue, and my rule about the glue is loads and loads and loads of glue on the back of my white piece of paper, and I'm going to pop it on to my boat or my board. Okay, like that. Now my lovely mast line is gone because I covered it over with white paper like that, but I am going to just draw another mast on it with my black marker again in the center. Okay, so that is my boat done. Okay, because I like the white sails. But as I said, you don't have to do the white sails. This is just my design. This is the way I like doing it. Okay. The last thing we need to do is we're going to use your sellotape to stick on the stick on the back of the boat. Okay. So I'm just going to take my sellotape and I'm going to take my stick. I'm just going to make sure that it's not too much sellotape because I don't want it sticking out all over the sides. And I've just stuck it on here. So you can see the stick in the middle kind of acts as the mast as well. All right. So I've taken my stick, just a little bit of sellotape, and just stuck it across the stick at the back. Now, if you want, yes, Oisín?
We've broken the mast on it. The mast is very thin.
That's okay. Do you know what? Look, you're going to use your stick as your mast. So you can sellotape it back together on with your stick. Look, like this. All right.
Thanks.
So your stick is kind of like a crutch. If you break your leg, use a crutch. And this will be your mast crutch, okay? Like that. So I think that works really well. You might need a second piece of tape just for the other bit of the mast. But it should stay with one piece of sellotape, okay? So I'm just going to show you what it looks like with two. Like that, okay? And you can see there's little bits of tape sticking out the end. I'm just going to tuck those in. Or you can cut them off with a scissors if you're super neat. Okay, so there's a little piece here that's sticking out. So I might just trim that with my scissors. And so it'll be really sturdy now because it's card and it's stuck together with a stick. So it'll be really sturdy. And as I said, you can use the other side and do anything you like. You could do a sea monster, an octopus.
I like to do a fish.
Yeah, a fish. You could do a fish on the other side. And you could just use one side for one thing and the other side for another. So you can make up a play. Okay? So how are we getting on there with the boats, girls? Are you getting on okay? Brilliant. Can I see how far you've come?
We're still working. I'm showing you after. Yes. No. We're still working.
Still working on it. Oh, well done. That's gorgeous. Oh, I love the shape of the sails are beautiful. Well done. Good girl. That's really cool, actually. I like the different kind of shape sails. So when you have your sticks popped on them like this, I'm just going to go around it. I'm going to trim off some of the extra bits of sellotape that I don't need, that I can see on the front. Look, there's a piece here. And there's a piece on the sail that I don't want. So I'm just going to be super neat. But that's just me because I like being super neat about things. And I'm just going to take that piece of sellotape off so I don't have lots of sellotape sticking out the side. Okay? Now, when you've that done, we're going to go back to your painting. Okay? And you can see from mine, none of it is super shiny. It's the plate that's shiny, not the wet paint. So it's mostly dry. Okay? And I'm just going to just push the bottom of the plate out so there's a bit of a gap. And I can just pop my boat in like this. And I can sail it on the ocean like this. All right? So that's what we've ended up with. And if you did a sea monster or anything like that, you could do the other side and pop it out. And just pop it back in with something else on the other side. Okay? It could be a mast of a sinking ship the way it is now. Okay, so that is our really cool summer scene. Done our lollipop sticks and our painted paper plates. And I think these are really nice. These are really cool. I hope you liked making them as much as I did. How do we get on?
I liked it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is fabulous. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well done. They're really cool, guys.
I'm still working on mine.
You're still working, I know. That's all right. That's okay. Take your time. And as I said, you can always go back in and you can stick other things into the sky, like, or you can draw them in. You can do little seagulls with your markers, or you can make them out of your white paper that you've left, or you could put fish in the sea or seaweed or anything like that, and do lots of other cool stuff with your little scene. So this is just the basic one that we started today, and you can add to it after class. All right? Guys, thank you so much for today's class. I will see you next week. We're not painting next week, so you don't need aprons, but I will see you next Tuesday. Thanks a million. Bye, guys. See ya.
Thanks.
Don't forget to wash those brushes.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.